Good evening everyone and welcome to round 13 of the XRL F1 Championships. A few changes this week, but we're here for the inaugural night race of the F1 calendar, and the only one still to be on there in the box meet tonight is Christopher Moss, again making a second weekly appearance in the F1 division. Good evening, Chris. We've seen people like Fernando Alonso win this twice. Sebastian Vettel has won this 3 times in the 5 runnings of this since it coming back in 2009. We saw last season's winner, Sean Bean, who seems to be somewhat of a street circuit specialist, winning here last season, Monaco this season. He should be right up there again. Bobertson Valexi filling out the rest of the podium, and Lewis Hamilton getting a 1:38.4 in his qualifying last season. That should be beaten quite comfortably, but the question is, who is going to take pole? With the big news of Button's departure this week, it has left many people wondering who's going to be able to go on and take the lead in the championship and take the lead in most of these races, and it looks pretty close so far. So we're going to get onto the track. LGS is currently provisional pole on 38.8. And yeah, let's get out there.
I've just watched Stevo's reasonable lap of 141.1 on the primes. Not the best compared to LGS's super soft tyres, but he's still getting decent laps in.
Yeah, and the step up of 2 tyre compounds this week, got the medium and the super soft tyre. So we're going to get out onto the track and let's see who we go on board. It looks like Reese is going into the pit, so we'll get off him. And Nutters, is this a lap from him? He's on the prime tyre. It doesn't look like it. Most of these guys are probably nearing their laps and going into the pits. It's quite a long lap here, about 1:40, plus your in and out lap. It does take about 6-7 minutes just to do your first stint, so you only get 2 or 3 real attempts at it. As it looks like Taps is just lagging a little bit here, but he dives into the pit, keeps it nice and tight, which is something we've got to look out for during the race, but most of the drivers, I'm sure, will be taking that as they should do. Fozzie signing in for the evening, saying that Fearless looks like he's going to win. Who is your prediction, everyone? Fozzie's got himself involved. I know there are a few of you watching, so I've got Andy, COYB, Smithical, I Love Jigsaws, I's the Best, and obviously Fozzie as well. We'll try and get a few of your shouts out during the race tonight, but got here is GP3 Championship leader and now F1 full-time driver Stevo 1989. He's taking TRL Button's McLaren. Can he live up to the big name and the big pace? I don't know if he can do, but he should be bang on the pace of the guys in this division. But it'll be interesting to see who actually takes that mantle on, as we're on board with Championship current second place driver NMR Mr. Indigo, just completing the first sector now. He's on the prime tyres, and it looked like he got awfully on the inside there. Be lucky, be very lucky if that's not corner cutting.
Interestingly, behind NMR Mr. Indigo, we also have XRL Bobbers on the super soft tyres.
We do indeed. We'll get on to that in a second. And Indigo just getting a little bit of oversteer there, going over the Wellington Bridge. But it all seems to not be too bad so far as we now come to the start of the third sector. Got this right hand, the second or first gear. Gets a good drive out. Now this is a tricky left and brake for a right hander. Quite tight. It really does tighten up. And you got this second gear corner now going under the bridge. First gear again, very, very twist and turny part of the track here. Your lap can be lost or won at these corners. Mr. Indigo just keeping a fraction of his tyre in there as he goes around the double left-handed final corner, and that's a 1:40.1 on the prime tyres. Not a bad lap time. Wesley
and XRL Bobbers got provisional pole position at 1:38.7.
1:38.7 for him, so it's quite surprising that there's such a big gap in the qualifying. It's quite surprising that there are people on the prime tyre. I mean, there's quite a big gap between the 2 tyre compounds from what I'm hearing this week. At least a second, if not more near a second and a half. So, I don't know if necessarily that's the right choice of people. I'd rather not qualify.
However, the interesting thing is the Ferraris had an absolute terrible run at Monza in the F1 division, but they are currently locking out the front row here in Singapore.
Quick question to all you guys watching your stream. What is Chris's audio like? We're trying something different this week. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys make of that. See if it's any better than the usual Xbox voice chat or not. As we are on board with LGS. Got that difficult left hand now. Going under the bridge. Going to the old turn 11, I believe it was. 3 chicanes there, and that Singapore sling's now gone, replaced with one single corner going over the Wellington Bridge. Got a little bit on the inside through that chicane, and this looks an okay lap. I'm not sure if this is going to be an improvement from LGS. We'll have to wait and see. I would be inclined to say probably not here, but I've been known to be wrong. And in fact, yes, he's slowed right down. He looked at the second sector. It seems to be about half a second off an ideal lap. So unfortunately, that's another lap ruined, but as a result, he's not going to finish that lap. He'll be able to get in, get another set of tyres, and go again. Reese 26, P3. This is good for Reese. We haven't seen him at the head of affairs for a little while. He deserves it after a number of poor races. So let's see how he gets on. Reese is now currently P3. Is on his out lap. We'll stick on board with the Lotus man. See what he can do. But yeah, obviously, Chris, TRL button not hitting the league anymore. Who do you think is going to be the guy who takes over, takes control? I mean, Valexi's got a bit of a gap. I believe it's something like 17 points or something to second and 30 points to third. So he's got a bit of a gap already. So do you think he's the one, or do you reckon there's any sneaky people like Nutters or possibly
I think
Fearless?
With Alexi, he does have a huge gap, but he's been very inconsistent over the whole season. He's had good races and very, very poor races, so it's hard to say. And it's the same with Fearless, but from races where I've actually been on board and looked at Fearless, I'd say he's probably got better race pace than Velexi, so I'd say he's got a shout for the season if Velexi doesn't hold on.
Stuart says that voice chat's got a little bit of background atmosphere. Well, that's probably to be expected.
And Waiter sent me a message saying your audio is perfectly fine.
Contrasting views. This does not look a bad lap from Reese here. I'm still on board going to Singapore Sling. He's took that absolutely perfectly. Going up to the chicane now and keeping that reasonably tight. I believe he's recording his race tonight over the Wellington Bridge now. First gear, clipped the apex, runs a little bit wide, but this is a bit of an improvement on LGS's time, and he gave up, so this is going to be, it's a slight
and the interesting thing is, Nutters has actually got provisional pole position by half a second to XRL Bobbers, but he lost his front wing.
Can you turn your TV down a bit? I can just hear it in the back. Not much, but keeping on board with Reese though, he's going to the final chicane here. Oh, runs a little bit wide. That might compromise him here. Going through the final corner. This is going to be close to see if it's an improvement. He goes over the line. It's a 39.0. It's a tenth of a second of improvement. Not what he was probably looking for. It looked better than that at a point, but I think that last sector just a little bit untidy, and that means that he's provisional P4. His teammate just behind him in P5 has done 39.2 on prime, so a decent lap set by Velexi there. He seems to be in reasonable control this week. But what is the current provisional pole time? We've got Lewis Hamilton currently provisional pole. He was provisional pole, or pole position, last season with a 38.4, improving on his last season's time by a tenth of a second with Nutters P2. 3/10 or 3.5 tenths to Bobberts down in P3, LGS P4, so you got the two Ferraris, followed by the two Lotuses, followed by the two Red Bulls between positions 3 to 8. Then you've got Mercedes, McLaren Mercedes of Taps, Steve and Sean Bean, who's yet to set a time, a bit surprising. Then we have the Toro Rosso of Jambo and Ciario, again not setting a time. 13 drivers making the grid tonight, and Nutters has sent me a message. Not a great time to send me a message. Lost my wheels across the line, oh dear. And looks like Lewis Hamilton's given up on his lap, so he'll be driving down to the pit lane. Bobbitt's now. He's going through Singapore saying, maybe not as good as Reese there, but definitely took the chicane a bit more positively now, going over the Wellington Bridge. And this is quite easy to lock up, and he hasn't done so there. He's done very well. This looks a decent lap here from Bobbitt's in the Ferrari. In fact, this could be an improvement on his 38.7. It's very close going into the final sector. The walls are different colours around here, which I'm sure you all know, but the walls are different colours for the different sectors. I believe it's blue, green, orange for the 3 sectors. So we're obviously in the 3rd sector here, as you should already know, as going through the final chicane before this short run down to the final corner. And again, this doesn't look a bad time. I'm not sure if it's going to be an improvement or not, though. It's going to be ever so close. He gets an improvement. It's a couple of tenth improvement to 38.5. And I believe that's Reese has given up. Well, he's already done a lap, so we don't really want him to do another. LGS going over the line. He's improved, but not by much. Only by about half a tenth of a second there. Velexity now. That Mercedes got right in the way. I'm not sure if that's a ghost car or not. That seems something like a ghost car.
I've got a message from BHA Captain Waiter. He says he's going to go for his ever-reliable division head XRL Bobbitt's for the win here. He's saying that because Bobbitt's actually went for BHA Captain Waiter in the F4 division. And he also says it's sad to see Button gone. It's a huge loss to the league, but he was easily the quickest.
But you have to ask, why was he the quickest? We don't kick people out because they're quick. We kick people out because they don't play by the rules. So, you know, that's why he's not there as Indigo pits, and that looks to be it. Valexi's not going to be happy, but I think that's a Taps ghost car. I can't see that Taps would have done that, but I don't think Velexity would have improved, or if he did, it wouldn't have been by much. But the top 7 covered by 0.8 of a second. And, well, quite surprised to see a few slower guys down there. Indigo, not particularly quick. Neither is Taps. Steve and Fearless a little bit off the main pace, with Velexity really doing a decent lap on the prime tyres. Lewis Hamilton, though, takes pole for the 2nd season in a row here in the Toro Rosso. He did it last season in the sister Red Bull. This year it does it in the Toro Rosso with Nutters. Well, we haven't seen much of him this week, but that is an improved performance on late, and he will definitely take that. So, good performance from him as well. Got a few of you watching the stream tonight. Jigsaw says, watch out for something out of the ordinary. Okay. I believe that I'm hearing a lot of things about the strategy from Fearless and Velexity. Those two mainly, they're going to be doing something a bit different. It wouldn't surprise me if they pit extremely early to get some clean air, but you know what this track's like. You can easily break a wing here or there, and you know that strategy's out the window, so it doesn't necessarily work. But we've got a very, very long race, Singapore being the longest in the race calendar. This is going to be one heck of a long race, and we hope that you can stick on board and watch the full race live from Singapore coming up right after this. To enhance your XRL racing experience, sign up for Premium today to receive a Microsoft XRL gamer tag and join the ever-growing community. An ad-free forum with a members area with additional features such as extended private messaging limits. Every stream uploaded to members forums from F1 to F5000 and XRL Classics. A custom signature on the XRL forum of your choice. All new setup lap guides from F1 drivers such as Velexity, F1 Nige and Mr. Ice Cold Andy. Monthly prize draws with big prizes from sponsors such as GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk. Pick the car you want next season with XRL Driver Priority. Premium members get to pick their car ahead of the driver draws. 10% off all store items and a free keyring when you sign up. So help support the league today and sign up for XRL Premium. Right, so we're live here from Singapore now, and Jigsaw's getting involved again. It's going to be a tight race. They'll have a lot of work to do, but you'll see very shortly, Fozzie. I think that means we're going to have one of those races. They've already readied up.
Shortly.
I don't know who's done that, but it's not helpful for the guys. We've skipped back to Xbox chat, but we're about to go for the Singapore Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton takes pole for the second season in a row round here on the streets of Marina Bay in night conditions. Does not feel like night time, being so light with all the lights around the track. But me and Christopher Moss are going to be giving you some great action for 61 long laps of the Singapore Grand Prix. And we're off and away we go. Going down to turn 1 now. Who's going to have the lead? Is Lewis Hamilton going to be able to hold the threat on the inside from Nutters? Nutters is going to have a move on the inside. And it looks as if Lewis Hamilton has lost a position. And the Ferrari now on the inside. And where's that? It looks like it might be, is that a Steve-O making a move? And that's Reece 26 trying to get on the inside. But Lewis Hamilton, big loser, now his teammate. That looks like his teammate Jambo's in the mix now. He tried to get past Lewis Hamilton there. We had a spinner just as I caught off the back. It just got a little bit bunched up, and I believe one of the cars has nowhere to go. Jambo gets way deep, and he has lost it. He's gone from 4th down to 12th. And who is that guy it's LGS. Hopefully he's not broken a wing. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But Ciaru now down in 11th, prime tyres. He's got Taps just in front of him in P10. Again on the prime tyre. We've got NMR Mr. Indigo in 9th. And then we're now all coming up to the Singapore Sling. And I believe that is Fearless down in 8th. We've got a Mercedes there of, I believe, that is. But they're in a bit of a... Sorry?
Should be a Steve-O.
No, Steve-O's in the McLaren. It's probably actually Tapped taking over the Taco's seat tonight. They're fighting for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Fearless just overseeing that one on the prime tyre at the moment. Got a Steve-O in 7th. Not a bad start for him on his first race in the F1 division. But he's 26. Oh, nearly losing the back end. Now he retains 6th place. Can he get the car to stop in time? No, he can't. He's ran deep. He's broken end plate. He could have broken so much more, but even an end plate lost round here is big, and he's really getting out of shape now. And the Red Bulls of NMR Mr. Indigo. Oh, we have a Mercedes there who got out of shape. We've got someone in the pits. Is that Fearless already, as we thought? He doesn't trick me. He said all before this race he's got some crazy strategy, and I even said to him, I bet you're pitting on lap 1, aren't you? And look what he's doing. Trying to do something a bit different.
As well.
The thing is, it could easily work out. They get some clean air and they drive. It could work out. If they make a mistake and break their wing, it's not going to work out. It's going to be totally against them because they've just done a stop for no reason. FIF Alonso, Motorsport Nerd signing in for the evening. And yeah, this fight down P47 now we're on board. We're going to go just closing into Reece, who's been a bit scruffy of late, but it's good to see him fighting for position basically with these guys. And in front of them we've got Sean Bean, last season. Well, Velexity, oh my god, Velexity's out with a connection issue. He's not had it good tonight at all. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. They've put in a lot of effort this week. And Velexity's lost out. He gets to do 1 lap of the race, pit, and then disconnect. What a shame.
Well, I love Jigsaw said that we were going to see some things that we weren't expecting, and that was one of them.
I don't think he was even expecting that one. I suppose you better get him in, but he's not going to be happy at all.
Sector 2 is showing green.
You know, he's got a championship to fight for.
Keep an eye out for any debris.
Can't afford disconnections, and he's just got another one there.
Well, if NMR Mr. Indigo gets his first win here, he actually takes the lead in the championship.
Well, yeah, now he would, yeah. Now with that disconnection. Steve-O now under a little bit of pressure from the Mercedes of, is that? That is Sean Bean in 5th on the option tyres. The top 2 are getting away. Ozzy, you're right, it was a 38.3 quali if I could that. I can nearly do that. Reese 26, the other Lotus now. He is down in 6th. Just lost a bit of ground on the 3 in front, but it's not doing too bad. These tyres will go off incredibly quickly though.
Computer is showing waved yellows in sector 2.
Waved
no
yellows
overtaking
in sector 2.
and watch out for debris on the track.
Indigos just scraped the wall, and that was under pressure from Taps in the Merc. He's on prime tyres, but easily down the inside going into Singapore Sling. Indigo not even fighting that position. Good overtake from Taps, and he's up into P7.
Sector 2 has been...
And then we have Jambo fighting with the McLaren of, I believe, that is Sayaru, down in 10th and bottom point scoring position. LGS has closed up. Quick mention about LGS, he has closed up, and that is Fearless on the option tyres down right at the back on his alternative strategy. So we'll see how he gets on. He'll be setting a very quick lap this time around, you would think, and we'll have a look after this. But Nutters and Bobberts in complete control of this race. They've got a massive gap early on to the rest of the drivers, and that is a good 5 seconds, if not more. Lewis Hamilton down in P3. This is a much better performance from him. He's now 48.6. We'll take a quick look at the fastest laps once Fearless has gone over, because I think he might be doing the quickest one, but Steve-O is currently lapping quicker than Lewis Hamilton here.
Interestingly, Reese in the other Lotus has got a 10-second penalty.
Already. Don't know what that's for. I better make a note of that, I suppose. We haven't really seen too many incidents. I mean, LGS got on the wrong side of the spin, but I think it was just because everything was sort of bunching up and he was just sort of sandwiched a little bit. I don't think it's anyone's particular fault. We've seen Jambo run wide at turn 1. Other than that, I mean, not too much. So,
but with fresher tyres, Fearless has only gone 9/10 of a second quicker than Bobberts, who did do an in, out, and a qualifying lap.
Shouldn't be now all over the back of a Steve. He might have a look on the inside here. It's a difficult place to even contemplate making a move. And the Lotus of Reese is just watching it. Oh! Taps. I don't know what happened there. He's destroyed his car at the end of the, I think it's the Wellington Bridge. I'm not sure, Alexi. Words can't describe. I mean, I'm assuming he's done a lot of practice this week, and well, it's been for nothing in the end. Can't say anything. There's nothing's going to make it any better. But you and Fearless obviously we're going to do an alternative strategy in this race.
And it would have pulled off as well, because
you think?
From what I was seeing, people didn't have the pace to actually. I just didn't think anyone had the pace from what I've been seeing.
That's absolutely gutting.
Because at start, I was up into like 5th on the prime.
Yeah, you were.
And we expected to be like 10th. So when we did that alternate strategy, we was going to just basically run 4 options the rest of the race.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Fearless does, because he hasn't had any run-ins with anyone. He's driving on his own at the moment on the option tyres as Sean Bean goes around the outside there. Top move from Sean. Yeah, we'll just have to see how Fearless does and how that really pans out, and if that actually works off. But I'm absolutely gutted for you, because, yeah, well, championship lead, but well, probably, hopefully, still will be after this race, but the amount of practice you put in, it's not really fair. Still happy with Key as a host?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. Get Nutters back, do you think?
Yeah, but he won't be there next week.
He won't be there next week?
Not for the next 2, apparently. I think he said he wasn't in there.
Oh, right. I'll have a word with him after this race. We want to get him back at the end of the season, though, because it'll be quite important. And if he's our best host, then we want to make sure. He didn't disconnect last week, which is annoying, and that was 100% obviously as well. So I don't know. Did your actual internet just cut out, or did it just cut out from Xbox?
It just disconnected me from
Xbox Live. Okay. So it wasn't actually just an F1 random disconnect, it was actually an Xbox Live disconnect. Ah, that's frustrating. Can't really say too much else about hoping next week that issue won't happen. Gutted, absolutely gutted for him. I'm not sure if he would have won. It'd be interesting to see how Fearless runs, because they were on the same strategy. And if it does pan out that he does get himself into a winning position, I think he'll be gutted. He'll be absolutely gutted, because he could have won that race. Crazy Chris Stewart reports that yes, it's very good. Happy day, this is what we're talking about. But something for you, Where's the overtakes of the week from Monza? It's got to be done every week. Can't just pick and choose when you do it.
Still waiting for the overtake of the week that I done on Canada, but you know.
Yeah, but if you were in it, I don't really care. Sayara in 6th at the moment. Steve-O just following Sean Bean around at the moment. But let's get a rundown of the lap times and who's where. So Nutters leading the race at 45.8 is his quickest lap. Within 2nd place Bobberts. 3rd is Lewis Hamilton. 4th Sean Bean. We've got 11 runners at the moment, with Steve-O 5th, Ciaru 6th, Jambo in 7th, Indigo in 8th, and I believe this is where you have the pit stoppers. You have Fearless in 9th, Reese in 10th, and LGS trying something different in 11th. Fearless doing the quickest lap by 0.6 of a second to Nutters. So that early pit stop, although it's going to add a lot of time on, it could be beneficial with better lap time. So keep an eye on that. We will do over the course of the race. And Lewis Hamilton under some big pressure now from the Mercedes of Sean Bean, last season's race winner around here.
Nutters is now far enough away that Bobberts cannot get the DRS zone, and Bobberts seems to be struggling to keep on back of the Williams.
Yeah, that gap on the mini-map is definitely a lot less. I'm just watching them out, we're just behind 3, 4 and 5. We're 3 now, 3 and 4. Looks to me as if a Steve-O just can't quite live up to the pace that the Toro Rosso and the Mercedes can. It's great to see Lewis Hamilton up there, and Sean Bean as well. His performances have been a bit miss. So it's good to see him up there in decent point scoring position at the moment, and he might have a look down here at the start of the 30 seconds move, probably not, and holds on. But Lewis Hamilton breaking an end plate here, and Sean might sense that as an opportunity to try and make a move. He's going to have the inside here with brakes late, and that is respectful driving from Lewis Hamilton. he gets to be fair, nothing wrong from Sean Bean, but great for Lewis Hamilton to see that one coming. Had to back out and actually does lose place, but Lewis Hamilton breaking the end plate, which will cost that one. McLaren of Estevo now, looking down the inside, has the DRS, doesn't make the move though, backed out. I thought he would try and late brake and try and make that move, but he doesn't, he stays in. At the moment he's under pressure now from his teammate Ciaru, who's all of a sudden started to come into this, right into this race. He is on the prime tyre and will start to capitalise as these options degrade badly. And that gap between P1 and 2 has really opened up now, as that looks like Estevo has run deep. That's well, I don't know if that's because Lewis Hamilton made a just maybe ran him out of a little bit of road, but he's way back. He's lost some big places there. Indigo breaking an end plate as well. A lot of those flying around, so that'll be for sure. Indigo, another one. Not Indigo, sorry. That is Jambo in the Toro Rosso, who's also broken an end plate, and he is down in P6. One who hasn't is Ciaru. He might have a look at Lewis Hamilton after Sean Bean getting past, and the tyres will be in his favour now.
What would be the good news?
Last night, £580 won on football. I was happy when I woke up this morning.
Was it the fact that won a match?
What?
Was it the fact that Manchester United?
No, I didn't do pre-season friendlies. Like, Ciaru now having a look down on the DRS, weaving here and there. He's allowed to make one move and go back to the racing line. He has done. Ciaru just can't get quite close enough. Yeah, it's just on random South American football. We've got some more going on site, so we'll be having live updates from places like Romania, Brazil, Chile, all over the place really. Ukraine, God, going everywhere. Ciaru now, DRS down. Oh God, I got pressed. Ah, that's the worst time to get off someone. Didn't mean to do that. My hand just slipped on the analog. Lewis Hamilton looking like he's going to be able to defend. He's trying to run Ciaru out of road. Ciaru is going to have the inside, surely make a move. But no, Lewis Hamilton still doesn't give up. They're side by side going into Singapore Sling. Lewis Hamilton's starting to break a gap. He's going to give him that place back. And fair play. I think it's just a little bit forced. But Ciaru's definitely starting to find a bit more pace than Lewis Hamilton, and that probably is down to the tyre compounds now switching in favour for Ciaru. Lewis Hamilton is doing well to hold him off the floor at the moment. But someone who's now coming into this is Lewis Hamilton's teammate Jambo. Jambo is also on the option tyres. His tyres must surely be hurting. I don't know how long they can go on the 100% race distance. Any clue, Chris?
It's a tough one. I know when I was looking in the pits, he said the options can go 21 laps. But from what Valesky was saying, they're going to do 4 laps on the options, and I'd imagine it would be something like 15.
Doesn't matter, he'd already crashed out. So what happened is Jambo runs up very wide. We're going to have to note that down as a warning. In, so where will Jambo feed out in relation to the likes of... Oh no, he got 5-second lag, Jambo there, whilst he was in the pits getting his wing replaced. He will come out in definitely 10th. Yeah, 10th is for sure. And the one behind is a Stevo who ran wide. I believe it was turn 6.
Jambo's just had one of them seasons.
Who else have we got? Who's where? LGS pitting very early, P9. Reese 26 hit a little while ago now. Those tyres definitely getting up to temperature. And P8, he may be able to undercut a few of the others like Lewis Hamilton as well, which might be a big bonus. Fearless though, he's the one to watch. He's the one that might make an alternative strategy work. He's in P7 after 10 laps and really starting to close in on the battle between NMR Mr. Indigo and that looks like Jambo. Or is that possibly Lewis? No, it's Lewis Hamilton, my mistake. And Lewis Hamilton is not being too generous to the drivers behind, leaving them literally the width of the car, and that is it. And Nutters has destroyed his car. The race leader has destroyed his car. What has happened there? What has happened?
He went wide at the final corner and went into the barrier like he did in qualifying.
Nutters, what has gone on? He was doing everything right. And it's a safety car. Safety car is out, so...
And Bobbers has already gone past it, so he gets another lap, so he can go and get a new fresh set of tyres and still be ahead of everybody else.
Nutters. Pit wall.
Fuck's sake. No, it was the curb on the final corner. Spat me out to the right. I went very fractionally wide, touched my right tyre on the curb on the final corner, and it just instantly spat me to the right and smashed me square into the wall.
Disappointed, Nuts. Disappointed. I thought you were looking awesome for this race. You were in control.
I was miles ahead. I was just coming in for my pit stop on the next lap. I was something like, Sean Bean's in third. I was like 18 seconds ahead of him or something. I was like, this is perfect. I can't believe it.
You were pulling such an impressive gap, even to Bobbitt's behind you. Am I hearing this right? You're not going to be around for the next 2 races?
Yeah, I'm on holiday. That would. I was looking for the win here. That would have been a perfect way to take the break or whatever that I am going to do. You don't understand how gutted I am. I cannot believe that.
Yeah, well, it only takes one massive mistake like that, and that is race over. And yeah, sadly, that's no points going to be scored today out of what looks to be 25. When you get back from your holiday, though, we will need your posting capabilities.
There's some jumping on the track.
A little bit, but I mean, you're the best host, and you know, getting close to the end of the season. People like Alexi, we don't want people like at the front of the championship losing connection like that. It's unfair on them. So, yeah, you can. Absolutely gutted. I know you were 100% fan of this race, especially on a full race distance, but you had no reason to. It's a big incident, and so gutted for you and Alexi tonight, because you two could have both been shouts for the win, and you're both going away without any points. And that leaves, I believe, 10 drivers left because of some C mistakes and some not disconnections. But oh no, you've given your good old rival Bobbert a potential 25 points here. Exaggerator of the year, 25 points. I can't believe what you're doing.
He was actually holding on really well, to be fair. It was
Your pace was great.
It was only about 3 seconds behind, but it's annoying because it's not even like I made a mistake. It's a glitch on the curb that just spits you out. I just very fractionally got on the curb at the end, and I was completely avoiding it through all my practice. It's because I lost a tiny bit of my front wing on the 10th lap there. I broke a little too early, cut in, shaved the wall, and I lost an end plate on the right hand side, but I was like, it's okay, it's only 1 lap, and then I'm coming into the pits, and then that got me understeer around the final corner, and I just slightly pushed wide, and like I said, I'll put the footage up. It just literally instantly glitched me straight into the wall. I could not do a thing. Gutted, absolutely gutted.
Big shame, big shame. Well, you need to have a couple of weeks off, come back for, I believe, it will be not South Korea, not Japan. What's after Japan? India, is it? India, so the final 4 races of the season, I believe it is. Yeah, 4 races, 60, yeah. So, you have 4 races. Looks pretty unlikely that any championship push is there now. Is there a case for having to possibly watch over your back whilst you're away, do you think? Or relegation playoff? I mean, relegation playoffs,
really
not what you... let me have a quick look at the F1 division table, and we'll break it down for you, because obviously with those 2 weeks away, that does not particularly work out well for you.
It could push me down, but it doesn't really matter, considering that this is my last season anyway, so relegation. But I was gutted that I couldn't at least. I still haven't got a win in F1, and this was looking to be quite tasty. Bobbitt's was well on me, so I don't know what might have happened later on, but I just 10 laps in, I just piled into the wall, so yeah, fantastic.
Well, commiserations. Can't really say much more, really.
I'll stick my setup onto the forum. It's pretty good. It lets you be really aggressive, and maybe someone else in the other divisions can make more use of it than I managed to do, and not crash. Right. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it.
Yeah. I'm just having a look at some stuff from today's Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm assuming you watched it.
I did watch it. Yeah.
Best race of the season.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I was happy that Hamilton managed to get, quite far back.
I wanted Alonso to win, man. I thought he was going to do it as well. 3 laps left, and Hamilton was holding Ricciardo off, and as soon as Ricciardo got past Hamilton, I just knew that was it, because you only had to see that Alonso had nothing left. But
Alonso did seriously well to get second. If anyone deserves a win in F1, it's got to be Alonso, surely, this season. What he does with that car is
I think
crazy.
Bottas deserves a win, especially with his performance recently.
Bottas, yeah, as well, but you got to remember the Williams is a much better car.
Williams is a better car, and you only have to have a look at like Felipe Massa's pace. They're pretty close, actually, to be fair. So, yeah, but okie doke, nutters. If you want to watch the stream, get on. It'll be interesting to see who wins this one.
I might watch it in a bit. I'm gonna go.
Gonna sulk for a little bit, cry in a corner. eat some shreddy wheat or whatever you like to eat from a cereal box or whatever.
I might just go out, buy a second-hand F1 disc just so I can break the fucking thing and throw it somewhere and carry on with the next race.
Just yeah.
Right.
Speak to you later.
I'll check.
So all 10 cars all of a sudden got themselves really close, and LGS has all of a sudden made a Ferrari 1-2 at the front. He must not have pit. I can't understand how he's there. Sean Bean in 3rd place.
He's on the prime tires.
They're about to restart. Ciaro in 4th. Then you got the Toro Rosso pairing of Jambo and Lewis Hamilton. That looks to be Fearless down in P7, but we're away and we're off again. So we won't be able to run down the rest of those positions until a little bit once it's calmed down. So going down to turn 1, it looks like the race leader Roberts has got his teammate for good company. What a person to have behind. And that looked as though I got off the wrong person at the wrong time again. And oh god, Jambo's really struggling in that Toro Rosso. And Fearless, is that Fearless in the Red Bull? Fearless, oh no, it's Indigo. Indigo in the Red Bull, my mistake, makes a move, and he's on the super soft, so he has to get moving and quickly. We've got in the Toro Rosso, we've got Lewis Hamilton in P7. He's now closing in on the back of the Red Bull, but he can't make the move. But these guys just brings everyone together, and that's a comment that Jigsaw says. Jigsaw says, well, Bozzy says it'll bugger Fearless' strategy, but Jigsaw says it'll be perfect for him, brings everyone closer to him. So it'll be interesting to see how Fearless goes, because the Legacy would have been in the same position.
Well, Fearless is currently in 9th out of the 10 runners and riders, but he's got Reese in front of him on the prime tyres. But keeping ahead of him crucially, there's been a little bit of a pile-up with
Fearless. Look at Fearless
drivers.
there. He's capitalised big time for that. He's up into P7 now. P6. If he can go around the outside, he is as well. What a move from Fearless there to get around the outside. Top stuff from Fearless. I'm going to have to write that down. He nailed that. He capitalised on an error from the mini pile-up just at the Wellington Bridge, and Fearless is going to struggle. He pitted when he shouldn't. Yeah, he could well do, but we know what his pace is like, so he may be able to adjust his strategy, and it looks good for him at the moment. He's really benefited this lap, up 3 places to P6. He has his teammate for company in P5. Will there be a little bit of team orders? I don't know if there will be or not. But he's in P5.
But interestingly, Fearless has actually pitted twice, so he's already done his second set of options on now.
Quick mention though. Sean Bean and a lacking Ferrari.
And there's a Ferrari that's gone very slow. It's LGS, he's now dropped down to 7th.
I've got him in 2nd. He's lagging a little bit in the 2nd place. Hard to tell with LGS, I don't know what is.
Someone's gone off in Sector 2. We have waved yellows in Sector 2.
And now he's back in 2nd.
Sector 2 is showing green. Back to racing conditions.
Weird one.
Keep an eye out for any debris.
So no points for Lotus this week.
And Reese was looking alright. I don't understand that again. It's just a give up attitude every week with him. I mean, I know it's a long race. Singapore's a pretty long race. It is. It's the longest on the calendar, especially with any safety cars. But he wasn't doing badly. I mean, Reese, why the retirement? Everything looked to be not going too bad again. You were racing in the pack.
Yeah, I was until my front brake locked and decided to go into a wall.
And then broken wing, I assume.
Broken wing, flat tyre, and... But by the looks of it, I stand in 10th, so I can still score a point.
Well, yeah, obviously not great in terms of that respect. Didn't think of holding out in case of a safety car later on in the race, or...?
No, not really. I just braked and it just went straight on, so there's nothing else to do. I'm determined to finish a race this year.
Well, yeah. Oh my god, LGS is right in the way of this. I don't even know where LGS is. Yeah, I mean, to get points you have to finish, and I know 61 laps, especially Singapore, is pretty long. It's longest on the calendar, but if you don't finish and you don't score, and you never know what can happen. Nutt has proved that when he destroyed his car. No fault of his own. And that's one person and gone. It's just, you never know what's going to happen, especially in these sort of long races. So,
well, I got a time penalty anyway.
what was that for? Because that sort of stuff can get taken off.
Basically, in the first lap of the race, it was, I think it was the third corner. I went around the outside and I tapped LGS's rear wheel and he just spun. I don't know why. It was literally the tiniest tap ever. I didn't do it on purpose. It tapped it and he just spun round and it's like, oh yeah, you can have the penalty now. Like, thanks.
Well, seeing as you recorded your race, we could have took that off because you would have had the footage. Say otherwise.
Yeah, I'll put it up anyway. So.
Yeah, the whole 16 laps of it.
Oh, I know. It is really, really annoying. I really do want to finish a race.
The quali was good. If you want to take something from it, the quali performance was not too bad.
Quali was good, yeah, but for some reason, I just had to start the race. The car just went, I'm going to have no grip. I was like, thanks, no grip mode.
You did. I was watching you struggle at the start, those first few laps. You did drop a couple of places and it did look like you were running out of grip. So, I see where you're coming from with that. But yeah, next week we've got South Korea, another very popular track. Less chance of breaking a wing around there, so that's a positive.
No, what happened was I kept locking the rears for some reason. Every practice race they did, the rears never locked. And it's only when I get into the main race, the rears keep locking. And the engineer says, put the brake bias to the front, the rears will stop locking. Okay, so I do that, and then both fronts lock, I go straight into a wall.
Sector 2 has been cleared of debris, back up to racing speed.
Just leave it on rear. Are you practicing in Grand Prix mode then, or?
I'm practicing Grand Prix mode. It's rare that I practice online. So.
You should get in a lobby with Alexi and them lot more often, because they do quite a lot of online practice, and you know that gets you used to racing online instead of Grand Prix mode, because the cars probably handle it a little bit different.
I was today earlier, but
Panda tomorrow night racing in GP2. Do you feel like I can beat him again? No.
No.
He's actually doing really well this year. He's got decent pace when he wants to. So I'm finding it a struggle to keep up. But who knows? Tomorrow maybe the night where I actually get a good result. Beat Panda for once, but
good result for you, Dan. Is
good result for me is usually 9, 10. But
oh, hello.
Who knows?
Hello. What's going on in the second corner?
What was that? What's...
Interestingly, Fearless is now in 3rd place and catching Sean Bean, while Bobberts is already flying.
Bobberts is flying. I don't understand this. He's absolutely gone away from everyone.
This could be the chance for his first Grand Prix win in the F1 division.
Yeah, I mean, now that there's no TRL button in this division, it does bring everyone closer to each other. And you'll see the likes of Bobberts and Alexi and Fearless, maybe even Reese before the end of the season if he doesn't retire, get a race win or good results, because you've had decent performances with just making errors that cost a lot. Reese, it's like Spain sticks in my memory, where you weren't doing too bad there and then you buggered your own chances up. So I mean, you have got the pace at some tracks, so who knows.
I don't know, it's just a...
Consistency over a full race distance.
Yeah, it's just everybody goes berserk into the first couple of corners, so you don't know what to do. So I end up trying to avoid everyone, and everyone goes, I'm going to just slam my car on the inside and take you out. It's like, thanks. So it's just little things like that that need to stop. That really need to clamp down on.
Yeah. I'll have to have a look at the first corner. Are you talking more specifically about tonight, or previous weeks?
It's previous weeks as well, but tonight in general, everyone just seemed to go berserk.
I'll have to have a look. I mean, I saw a bit of LGS and then you're losing it at turn 4. But everyone seemed to bunch up around there for some reason, so I'll have a look. I'll have a look again. But anyway, Reese, thanks for having a chat. Hopefully, I keep saying it every week, but hopefully next week you'll have an improved performance. Get to the end, I'm sure you'll score points, and the more you do that, the more points you'll get. Yeah. Can't really say too much more than that. My wise words that aren't very wise, because they're obvious.
Dan's wise words were not wise. The man walked off.
Well, I'm watching a battle here for 7th and 8th. It looks like that is that possibly Lewis Hamilton and Ciaru and no, sorry, that's Ace Devo with the other Toro Rosso of Jambo and 9th, 8th, 7th. Only 9 people running now for various reasons. Taps probably had to go because he works for a hospital, I think. So he probably got called out. Couldn't race. Nutters obviously with his issues is of course another retiree. I can't even remember that obviously Reese retiring, or someone else, but I can't remember. Alexi disconnecting.
Obviously we had the one non-starter as well.
Yeah.
Alexi now very close to Sean Bean. DRS open 3/4 of curves, going down the outside into turn 5, and he's already got the move done. He's up to 2nd and catching XRL Bobbert.
GB Fearless.
Indeed, XRL Fearless up to 2nd. The interesting thing is, Bobberts is yet to run the prime tyres.
Fearless is looking quite good. That gap probably stands about what, 7 seconds, if that.
Shrinking every time.
Yeah, Fearless has now got clean air as well. Sean Bean, street circuit specialist, he'll be very happy to get on the podium tonight if he does.
2nd time he will finish if he does. And he's fighting on the podium.
Let's have a look at my football accumulators because you know that's important. Oh no! Sao Paulo are losing at half time, 1-0 down.
Great news.
Zulta Bargram have won, so I got 1 out of 2. Who else is playing? Oh, that one's playing, but I don't know yet.
Interestingly, Dan, what happened to your game with Corinthians? I think it was last week. What happened to your game?
I don't know. I think it was just full time. Though I still don't buy it. I don't buy that it was full time because it was only like 60 minutes in. So. Not happy with them, but can't really argue.
Good Dan Fisk, you can always argue.
Very position tonight. I may not win anything.
Oh, whoa. I'm still in the pie, but Bobbers has gone straight on. He's off.
He is.
He is.
And Fearless is taking the lead.
He's off.
We just caught that on board with Ciaru. He ran completely deep. I don't even know what turn it is, like 5 or 6. He's still got his wings, so it's not as if it's the end of the world. But Fearless, well, this is his to lose now. He had the alternative strategy, which was going to give him a bit more pace. Obviously, a safety cover and that to some degree, but Fearless is now in the driving seat for the win. He doesn't need to close up now at all.
Doesn't need to close up, but he is extending his lead now. We've already got about a second on XRL Bobberts.
There are a lot of good results going in the football. It's just 2 games are letting me down, and they're both in separate accumulators. They're ruining both. But who knows? Still got half an hour left, 3/4 of an hour left. Bobbits here. That gap's definitely is not closing. Fearless, if anything, is just starting to eke out a few tenths there. So that looks more and more like it could be his race. But having said that, Fearless has not run. Well, he has ran. Bobbits is the one who hasn't run primes, isn't it? Okay, Chris.
Slow down.
And Jigsaw saying Bobbits has bottled at 18 laps on the options as well. That seems quite a lot of laps. I just can't understand how you can get that many laps out of our set of tyres, but seeing it is 100%, I suppose. Swishbone has finally got online. He's been stuck on a train all day. Oh well. But you were saying, yeah, Bobbits is the one who hasn't run primed yet. Or is that Fearless?
He hasn't, no.
Yeah, so Sean's
Fearless
looking in a decent position here. I mean, Bobbits looks like he may have just took a couple of tenths out of Fearless here. And that gap's round about on the upper limit of a second. Sean is no more than 3-4 seconds off the lead. He's on the prime tyres, and the others are on options. So he may well have a shout in who wins this race. Not with driving like that, though. And it looks like Ciari's going to get quite close going down this... down straight down to turn 5. Backs out though. Praying for a goal dance in the com box tonight. We need Slovan Librek to score in the last 4 minutes of their game. That'll keep the ACA well on, truly on.
Not gonna happen.
Probably not. If not, we have to pray that Sao Paulo score twice in the second half.
That is possible.
Sao Paulo are playing an average team. They're both pretty close to the table, but Sao Paulo are good sides and go with them. Anyway, back to the action. And Chris, who are you on board with? Only 9 out there, but there's a few battles. There looks to be a few battles out there because there's only 9.
Yeah, I'm still on board with Fearless. I'm just finishing up his corner cutting.
Are you? Yeah. Anyone being very naughty tonight?
They've been relatively clean, actually. Not a really tough track apart from the first.
No, it's not. It's not that many corners where you can go all 4 tyres off and be in an advantageous position.
Definitely the first sector and the start of the second sector where you can go wide. But
then other than that, it sort of tightens up, doesn't it? So there's less off-limits areas. So that's why corner cutting's not such a big thing around here.
Diary's going to have a look at Sean Bean.
DRS, he's got DRS, but he's not even opening it.
Oh, and he's gone Sean in. And Sean's lost his front wing. And a punch up. We're about to lose off. Just one corner away where Lewis Hamilton parked the car last year in the 2013 Grand Prix.
He's not looking like he's continuing either.
That was a bit harsh.
That was. This is a slight criticism from me of some drivers not well, it is their fault, it's no one else's fault. Why do everyone have, especially down straights as well, why does everyone have to get so close and pretty much wheel bang each other down straights to overtake? Don't need to do it.
A great example of real life F1 when that happened was Webber and Vettel in the 2009.
I mean, there's no need, you got a whole track. Obviously, yeah, you want to get as far over to one side as possible, maybe for the racing line, for the corner, but do it when you got the move done. I mean, just eliminate anything like this. And I bet you any money Sean will go slowly, go in the pits and retire. And it's just not fair on the race. It's making, you know, 8 people finish, and that we're only halfway through the race. Not even that. I mean, it's disappointing.
With the driving standards, Dan, you really need to clamp down on it. I think some of the stuff that I've seen this season is a bit ridiculous. like just now. There was no, as you say, there was no need.
It was a simple DRS move, although he didn't even open the DRS. Well, it didn't look like it. His wing was still flat back and the button hadn't been pressed according to the screen. So, I mean, it was a straight out pass, not even DRS, just a bit of curves, a bit of slipstream, get out, make the move, under braking, done. Don't need to try and wheel bang someone and put them into a wall before you make the pass.
My view, but that's my view.
I can't say on air, but that's obviously not even seen it. I just think it's a little bit ridiculous, but
with this at low speeds. Phyllis is actually about to lap him.
He's I don't know what he's doing. He can go faster than that.
Unless Sean is just screaming down the mic with unhappy thoughts, and Fearless now laps Mercedes.
No, he slowed right down.
Oh, and he's just been hit by the Ferrari, and the Ferrari's lost his front wing. That is poor driving there by Sean. That is poor driving by Sean there. He should have got out of the way of the Ferrari, completely blocked him.
Yeah. This is what happens when you stay in the race. You get points, and these guys are going to be doing it again. I see it was a pretty different track still, 100% race ID. I don't think Sean will be quite in the talkative mood, but we'll see if we can get him. Sean, a few choice words to say,
maybe? I couldn't hear you.
Do you have a few choice words to say after that incident with Ciara?
I think it's just a bit of a lack of judgment on his part there when he came back across. That's all I think that was.
It's well managed.
What's the point in getting all leery about it? There's nothing you can do about it. There's no point.
You're doing well in 3rd place. Street circuits are a good thing for you.
They are, yeah. I mean, the qualifying wasn't great, but I had a really good start, and the safety car sort of worked well for me.
Yeah.
Going up to 3rd from like 11th, I think, but yeah. I mean, I'm not going to hold Ciara against it. It's a rookie mistake, really. I mean, he had DRS, fair enough, he was going to overtake me. He just came back onto the racing line far too soon.
Was there anything said in the game chat?
No, nothing. I didn't really need to say anything. Just people asking why I went off. I think Roberts may have gone into the back of me on the way back to the pits, but there was nothing I could do because there was no front wing and a puncture. I couldn't go any quicker.
Could have gone a bit faster, surely.
I couldn't, seriously, I was on full lock.
You didn't even press the accelerator, you were just coasting into the pit lane.
I was on full lock, Dan. If I went any faster, I would have gone straight back onto the racing line and taken someone else out at a much higher speed. Fair enough.
Probably is not best pleased, but he ruined his race a while ago, so... Well, that's ruined, is it? It's still good quality. It's not what he probably would have wanted. We've got someone out on their own anyway. That's a Stevo. He's having a really quiet race now. Way back. Ciaru is our race leader though currently. How he's worked himself into that. Lewis Hamilton P2. P3 is Fearless. He's now left the pit. Very, very close. The Toro Rosso maybe couldn't capitalise. Fearless did everything he could to stick on the apex there, so Jabbo should have probably given him a slightly bit more room. Now he's under pressure because behind him is Bobbert, and Bobbert needs to get past as soon as possible. Have a go at Fearless. So is he on options again? He is on options again.
Well, this race has got quite interesting over the last 10 laps.
Yeah, but because of the amount of retirees, the lack of battling could be something. But Jigsaw's point saying quite interesting. There's one quite interesting point about the whole thing. The pit assist brought him off to the right. So almost keeping well to the left, doing fine. And as soon as he hit that pit limiter area, brought him back into the pits and that's what caused the incident. Which maybe that would mean
but you could
nothing
also look
could
at,
have been done about it. I mean,
you could look at the counterpoint of saying he could have gone a lot faster when he was down the straight.
yeah, I do understand that, you know, he would have struggled to have got into the corners and then keep being
I just had my mic on mute and Jambo's
gone
into the wall.
And Bobbert has just collided with ex-Lewis Hamilton. Sorry, I think that was Jambo. But basically, it was an incident.
There's been a collision with Jambo and Bobbert.
Really? I was just on board
with
them.
The initial.
Actually, it was LGS, and LGS is actually just spun, and I'm Mr. Indigo. So a Toro Rosso and a Red Bull, LGS has just decided to touch.
Is part of the argument is it's a street circuit like Singapore, or you know, these are maybe the quickest and best drivers in the league. They should know more, they should know better.
Staying on the head though. Yeah. Brag. But they see you. I know if there's a gap, you're meant to go for it, but
within reason, sort of thing.
Yeah, you fucking ram people
and
off.
Singapore is just not one of those tracks where you can just go, oh no, that is it.
Fearless and Hamilton, but Fearless has come on top of that one.
Yeah, Hamilton's actually lost a bit of his end plate now, and I think he's on a bit older tyres than Fearless. Bobbert will be the one who next gets to go past the Toro Rosso driver. Ciaru is our current race lead. He's got a decent sized gap, but has not. This pisses one less time than the rest. And you would think he'd come out probably in fourth place behind these three, which I think is a net third.
Bobbert on the prime tyres is actually just behind Lewis Hamilton. Well, Fearless is already romping away from Bobbert. Yeah, he is in P5. Hey, tell Lee he is lagging quite a bit. He's actually got Lewis Hamilton behind him as well now after pitting. Yeah, I'd like to bring up a very popular phrase by the real life Bernie Eccleston: think before you drive.
Yeah.
And driving
commonly applied by
illegal.
me. I mean, I don't think before I drive, and I do rubbish most weeks, so maybe I should...
Dan, I think you should give Lee 3 penalty points like they do on the road, because he was using his phone and driving at the same time.
Exactly.
Terrible. Oh, and next to me, someone's right behind him, and he's just like back ahead.
I'm going to leave you guys to commentate.
Okay, Grace. Good speaking to you. Try and finish next week. You get a good point. I mean, look at tonight. You can be on the right point.
No, not fair. I get taken out all the time. Okay. But I'm still finished 10th, so it's fine.
Yeah, 1 point. It's a start. It's a start. The next week's 25.
Don't worry, Dan is rare to get 1 point if he can.
Yes, Chris.
I'll be watching with an eagle eye.
Don't worry, Reese. I won't let you down. I'll win tomorrow.
Yeah,
got
Reese,
a good
worry,
feeling. I've got a good
down.
feeling, and that's no. Let's right then. Stuart
Dan,
will
you
win
said that about
tomorrow.
Silverstone.
Stuart will win tomorrow, but I will be very close.
You know what? I'm going to tip Fozzie for the win. I actually think Fozzie's got a good chance.
Fozzie's what you call out of form.
There's the one that is even more out of form
but
than Fozzie.
in proportion to, the people around him, he's not performing to the same level. So, I mean...
But you also have to think about the incidents that he may have been in, the possibilities that he's had with troubles with his wheel and having to go for a pad at Germany.
Yeah, well done, Chris. I'll try and get a violin now.
Nah, get a piano. That'd be funnier.
Right.
I'll talk to you guys.
Yeah, speech later, Reese.
Yeah, let me.
Chris, I'm going to quickly get a drink because it's like only halfway. It's a long one round Singapore. Not if I can help it, says Fozzie. I know Rusty watching the stream. Alonso, one request: don't retire tomorrow when you get annoyed. Don't do a Reese 26. Points mean prizes, and we need points. Chris, don't even argue.
I'm just going to commentate on how well you're smashing into the barrier, Dan. That would be the most interesting
thing. No, I've actually been really consistent in my practice. I've actually practiced a little. I've done 7 race laps.
7 race laps out of a total of... you're doing 50%, aren't you?
Yeah.
Great chance, Dan. That's a quarter of the race done. There's actually a battle for the lead at the minute, if you're interested in that, Dan. interestingly, there is now no battle for the lead as Sierra. And he's ahead of him.
Position.
It's and then Mr. Indigo behind LGS, I think. Jambo's retired. I'll make sure the same thing happens to you tomorrow. Exactly. So you don't need to worry
about it. Because every time I got anywhere, LGS's car was either blocking me, taking me out, spinning me, and about 10 laps before I retired, he got behind me and then just ran me into the wall, took my front wing off.
Yeah, I got that, Jambo. Don't worry about that. I got that.
Oh yeah. He's lagging for everyone. Everyone in the lobby is telling him to leave. And he won't leave because he hasn't got a message off of you, so he won't leave.
Well, he actually rang us.
Before that happened, he took about 3 people's end plates off, mine included, and banned me, and we were still telling him. Because his car was like just stopping in the apexes, so we couldn't even get round the corner. And everyone was telling him to leave, and he wouldn't.
It is becoming a problem because he's... the lag. You know what? If it's going to get like this, then why should they get the full points?
Well, I just think you should do like a race rerun of like 25%, because that's stupid. There was so much lag you couldn't do anything without getting taken out by LGS.
I think LGS has got the message because he's now going very slow and XRL someone's got passed. But I might actually blog something about this because I don't see why the F1 division, GP2 division, or any other division race 100% for only half the people to finish and get full points, because no point. There's no point for them to get full points.
Race distances because they...
I don't even want to race in it anymore because 100% is just always lag. Loads of the entire race, you can't even do anything. You sit in the game for like an hour and a half just getting hit by laggy cars.
LGS is in the pits this lap.
Even watching him in the pits and he's lagging.
Still in the pits, he's not retiring. I know he's retired.
Yeah, I do see the point. I mean, the F1 division is the F1 division because, you know, they're the best drivers, they should be able to race the full race distances. However, you know, if it's going to result in low finish rates, then, you know, there's no point in doing it. So, I do see the argument. Something that probably won't be changed for this season, I would have thought, just because the calendar's already there, but maybe going forward for next season, or even maybe the rest of this season, we may bring more 50% in and less 100s. I mean, have people's favourites on the 100% list. So tracks like, I don't know, Brazil, Australia, Spa, some of the more iconic and popular tracks put on 100. and have the majority on it.
Do 50%, and then for special events, so like you were saying, all the tracks which are like
popular,
stick out, like Monaco and stuff, maybe 100%. And the last race of the season,
yeah,
it be 100%, but 50%.
And then bring in double points for Brazil, yeah. No. Yeah, that's a perfectly valid argument.
Well, I'm going to type something on the stream for everyone to view, and that way they don't have to listen to me saying it, but they can actually view it and read it a couple of times if they need to. But maybe for the next season, I will say it now, but I'll type it out. But maybe from next season, maybe if half a lobby, less than half the lobby goes out with 75% done, then maybe half points should be given.
Because I could have driven around for another 30 laps and maybe got up to about 6. That was just so... That was like the worst race I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Been so far off the lead, I don't really care for 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I suppose the only positive is Velexity not scoring today. Brings it all a little bit closer again. Yeah. Food for thought, definitely, on how, you know, the league races will work going forward from tonight's race. So, you know, just got to have a little bit of a think about it and see what's best, really. Because obviously this race has now become not very exciting, and we've got 24 laps of it left. And, you know, why should 18 people watching the stream right now? Why should 18 people watch a race which is not very entertaining because people have lagged out, or people have lost, like, people have had bad race and had to retire because of lag, or, you know, stuff like that.
I tried staying in it.
I know, exactly, but you had no option
lap
to.
10, something happened, and by the end I just had enough and I couldn't be bothered.
Exactly, but you had no option because someone was lagging. I mean, okay, that probably wouldn't change in a 50% race, but the fact of the matter is, if the race is shorter, then you're more likely to stick it out if something bad happened. It's not as many laps. If you've got 100%, especially at Singapore, 61 laps at Singapore, it's 2 hours. So it is a full 2 hours. And that's not including safety cars. I mean, to do that anyway is quite full on.
There's only really one battle on this.
Yeah. And now we're on board with it's Indigo, and I believe that might be Ace Devo. P5.
To be honest, there was like a group. There was me, Indigo.
Yeah.
Indigo got spun by LGS's car as well, like literally on just after mine, on the next lap, like on about the 4th corner or something like that. And there was about 4 of us, me, Hamilton, Indigo and Ace Devo, and we could not get past his car, and we was losing about 3 seconds of that to the guys in front.
With the 6 remaining runners, Lewis Hamilton has a 10-second penalty, but it's Fearless from Bobbert, Ciari in 3rd in the McLaren Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton 4th, NMR Mr. Indigo 5th, and Estevo in the other McLaren on his debut in 6th, and currently running in last. We have a total of 8 retirements on this race.
Jambo, will you be cheering me on tomorrow?
Say no.
It's a hard one. I don't even remember who races in GP.
Well, I'll give you a clue. I do. And that's all you need to know, really.
Well, I have Fozzie to win it.
Oh, come on. As the second person that says Fozzie.
I don't know if he's fast,
Fozzie is a ghost of his former self these days. He would love me saying that about him, but I mean, if you want someone who used to be good and isn't anymore, that's me and Fozzie. Me and Fozzie. Rusty Nuts is going to finish 12th, break his wing and claim that there was a clown on the circuit.
Oh, that's some beef there, because Rusty Nuts is actually commenting on the stream. So
yeah, that's why I said that. You know, Rusty keeps claiming that it's a fantastic tournament, and that he'll be beating me over the course of the season. Well, I don't think so, Rusty. 1 or 2 races maybe, but those 1 or 2 races are because I usually let you anyway. So I mean.
Or is it the fact that you get taken out by
and that
really great teammate?
I mean, Alonso, what was he doing that day? Can't really blame him. Just one of those things.
Race is painful to watch.
It is.
Painful to be in.
We don't have to be here now, do you?
I'm loving Fozzie's comment.
Teammate on.
Well,
hey, Jambo, you'll love Fozzie's comment. He says Dan will lose 6 wings this time tomorrow.
Basically, like, how many wings will I lose, guys? I think I'll lose none. You're like...
I think we should get an accumulator on this.
No. I don't know if you would win. I would go 5 miles an hour.
I think there's going to be a battle for second soon, because Bobic is being caught by both the cars behind.
He is indeed. Aaron. Is that the McLaren? Ciaru. On reasonably fresh tyres as well. And behind him, next to us, Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton, his options of 10 laps in, and he'll be okay.
They won't have that many more laps until, like, you have 1 more stop drop, and do you think that would be that?
Bobic is...
Hey, I've got Jambo here. He can stay while you're gone. Well, Jambo, you've heard my proposition for people getting half race points if a certain amount of people leave lobby. What is your opinion on it as an F1 driver?
I think... I don't know really, because it's unfair on the people that are doing the race and stuff, and they just get full points for staying in.
Oh, I could just hear some squeaky person in the background. We'll move on from that. Well, I did, but...
61 laps Singapore.
Okay. They do 61 laps
of this,
but they've got no challenge, and it's not enjoyable. I mean, Fearless might see it as well, but...
and finished first and got given half points, I would kill you. Personally coming to your door.
Okay, how about if certain if a driver gets, say, 3 retirements within a season, then they get some sort of penalty? Because we don't want to see people retiring from a race.
If there's circumstances behind them doing it, then...
Oh yeah, there's disconnections and we won't worry about it, but I mean genuine retirement.
I think it's fair enough if they don't finish, they don't get the points, but if they retire and get punished for it, then I think it's unfair, because if they've been, like, let's say like my race, and I've been like hit left, right and centre, and that's caused me to retire, then I don't think I should be punished for already being kind of punished.
Struggling at this point in the race.
Bobic he's going to try and stick it out so he can just do one option run at the end. see Bobbitt's in about lap 45, 46.
But Dan, it's interesting how you bring up the point if people switch off their Xbox, because if you do that, you actually lose all your setups because your data goes corrupt. And I'm pretty sure if you're in the F1 division, you would not want that to happen.
It is.
Fearless is quite a bit ahead. I'd imagine he's coming up to the end of the first set. Oh, no,
the only reason I wasn't going to retire is because this track is so long that you never know a safe track. Save your day.
Interestingly, I've got two people on the stream, Fozzie and Rusty, both from GP2, are sort of agreeing with the fact that maybe if they get multiple retirements that they should be punished.
What percent races do?
They sort of run majority of them 100% and then 5 or 6 50.
Lewis Hamilton's got past Bobbitt.
So Bobbitt is slipping down the field on these prime tyres. I'd imagine he's probably got one more set of options left to put on.
He's going to try. The options will only go about 16 laps, so he's going to try and hang on. But the two drivers in front of him are doing the same, so he's going to have to take them on the track rather than...
They last about 16 laps. That means he's got about 2-3 laps before he comes in for his final pit stop. That is if he can get the tyres to last that long. You have to admit...
He's struggling as much as he is.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I mean, with the original safety car come out brought by Nutters, do you think that maybe you guys, you in particular, would have had a better chance of gaining better points with tyre wear as it is, and you guys all having to go in at that point?
I think it really affects me because I was already pitted, so it came out on the lap I had pitted, so it didn't really make anything. If anything, it or hurt me because then I was a lagging car.
But NMR Mr. Indigo, Fearless's teammate, currently second in the championship, is still running in a P5. A long way behind.
There should have been a safety car when Taps crashed. That was like...
Well, were you with Taps?
I was near him. I see how he crashed. It was through the... they were going. He went over the bridge, and he hit the right wall, and he hit the left. But that wasn't what destroyed him, I don't think. I'm not sure, but when I see him, he was in the wall. Like, so where Fearless is going through now, he's in the wall all the way in the exit. So I was destroyed.
And NMR Mr. Indigo has just got 5-second lag going around turn 2. Probably one of the worst places to get 5-second lag at this track, as hard as it is. Was he saying Bobbs is going to struggle to get on the podium now? I tend to agree with you on that one. His tyres are just going away. He's already about 2.5 seconds behind Hamilton.
Did you have any other drivers in here?
We've had everybody except LGS in here so far, and Taps.
Were they saying any lag on?
To be fair, I don't even really ask them about the lag on drivers, but I know Velexi frustrated because they were doing a different strategy along with Fearless, and by the looks of it, it would have paid off. They're obviously frustrated, but other drivers just, I think, frustrated at other things like Nutters going into the final corner, leading the race as he was as well. And I believe Bobbitt's pits for the final time with 16 laps remaining.
He's going to try and get undercut on or as much as he can.
Well, interestingly, Ciari does have front wing damage, so that will get repaired when he gets into the pits. So that could be in Bobbitt's favour, but he's going to be losing time because they'll have fresher tyres.
Compared to Saru, he's missing a bit of end plate, and he's still going faster than two guys behind him. And when he does get a new front wing, he's really fast.
Indeed, and Fearless is only on the same straight as Ciaru now. I wonder if Fearless has got a problem or something, because he was quite a lot further ahead.
It for his last stop.
I don't think he has, because his tyre wear is extremely bad if you look at his tyres. He is struggling for pure grip, and look at him now.
You can tell by his lap time. He's made a mistake somewhere.
Indeed, and Ciaru's looking down the inside, forces Fearless off track, takes the position anyway. He'll have to give the position back.
I think on mine I was watching, they didn't really make contact. I think Fearless was more trying to run wide because his tyres have either gone.
And Fearless is in the pits. And as is ex-Lewis Hamilton.
That's strange. I wonder what happened with him. He didn't he wasn't missing a front wing or anything, and his tyres couldn't have dropped off that fast within a lap.
They both come out comfortably ahead of Bobbitt.
Another race for first is really going to be on. That gap's been closed, so there'll be a four-way fight to the end.
Yeah, but Fearless has already gone comfortably ahead of ex-Lewis Hamilton.
Bobbitt is all over the back of Hamilton.
Yeah, guys, the reason why your screen is dulled is because Bernie has gone for a drink break, and
Bobbitt is back up the inside of Lewis Hamilton, DRS and curve.
Bobbitt has got past, so he's now back in holding position.
Oh, he's cut the wall.
Freaky fish. Lovely way of describing Dan. So Fearless going around the corner after that.
I think Bobbitt has the pace. He can get second, but his tyres may drop by the end, and I think Ciaru is going to be ultra fast when he gets out on those new set of tyres with his new front wing. But with that new front wing being changed, it may drop him in between all of his guys, like this.
And Ciaru is continuing for yet another lap with the broken front wing. So with the fastest laps now, ex-Lewis Hamilton's got a 20-second penalty. I wonder if he's crossed the pit line.
I think he's probably, I don't know if he got a penalty for staying in the race. I think he got a penalty in race for something which was down to lag. And then after that, it's very easy to get a second one because 2 or 3 corner cuts, it'll just give you one really easily.
Yeah.
Whereas before, it'll take you 10 corner cuts.
So interestingly, Bobbitt has the fastest lap time with a 1 minute 40.2 with the fresh tyres. We'll get to see what Fearless has in the next lap. Ex-Lewis Hamilton has the second quickest lap with a 1:41.6. Oh, scratch that. Estevo's got the second fastest lap with a 1:41.1. Then Hamilton with a 1:41.6. But if you were to make a prediction, if you were going to make a prediction now of where Ciaru would come, having seen the gaps between second, third and fourth, where would you say he'd come out?
I think because they're all new tyres and the undercut around this track is really, really strong because it's such a long circuit. And he wasn't that far ahead anyway. And he's got to, if you add in, he's got to get a new front wing. I reckon he's going to come out just behind the entire group, but with the benefit of the new tyres, and he's pitting right now.
Yeah, he's in the box. So, if you go on board with Fearless for us, I'll stay on board with Ciaru, and then we'll have a little see where he'll come out. He does put on fresh options, he does get a new front wing. He's just been released from his pit box now.
So they're coming around the last corner now. 3 of them. Oh, and Fearless is into the wall, but he's lost his front wing. Fearless has hit the wall.
And Bobbitt now takes the lead of the race. Ciaru is miles behind. And is that Fearless?
Yeah, Fearless, he hasn't got a front wing.
And Fearless has basically run his race off. And he was going to have to come into the pits now to replace that. and Estevo's only just behind. Has gone from leading the race comfortably to be going into dead last.
He was coming around the last corner and he ran a little wide, and I don't know what his suspension's like, but if it was a hard suspension he would have been flicked by the curb and so, but to me it just looked like understeer. I think he's pretty lucky not to be out of this race retired, because he hit that wall really hard. It wasn't a little tap.
Well, that's the wall that actually put out Nutters in this race, and he did a similar thing in qualifying where he lost his front wing.
I'm surprised Fearless isn't out of the race, destroyed his car, because he hit that really hard with a lot of momentum. But I think Fearless is in a battle with Indigo, because Indigo still has to make a stop, so those two will be really close. And Fearless has actually made another mistake, and he's doing a U-turn right now to get back on the track. He locked up, so he stuck it in reverse. He lets Indigo's teammate go past.
Roberts comes across the line now, as does Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis Hamilton setting the fastest time of the race at 1 minute 40 dead compared to Bobbitt's 1 minute 40.2. So Lewis Hamilton closing the gap there by 1.5 tenths in that lap. So Bobbitt's still very much in the lead of this race, but Lewis Hamilton should get the DRS going down the straight. He's lost a little bit of time, but Bobbitt's using half of his curve, but Lewis Hamilton managing to use DRS effectively, closing the gap back up. Past the corner at turn 5, closing the gap to Bobbitt's even more, with Ciaru flying behind them.
Yeah, what Ciaru has in hand over both the drivers in front is that he's on fresh new tyres, especially compared to Bobbitt's, who's already about 4 or 5 laps old, or about 4 I think, or 4, including this lap it would be 4, while Lewis Hamilton's are about 2, and Ciaru's are fresh out of the box. I'll watch Ciaru because I think he's going to go really fast.
I'm going to go on board with Bobbitt's. I can have a look behind and watch Lewis Hamilton close the gap even further in the final sector. Bobbitt's already on the throttle, starting to pull ahead, but DRS going to be going down the home straight. And we're going to go into turn 1. Lewis Hamilton closing the gap slightly. Goes later on the brakes, manages to keep on track. Bobbitt starts to pull away again.
The last time around, Ciaru didn't actually close on Lewis Hamilton. The lap times are very even.
Fearless has actually used all of his option tyres. He's now on the prime tyres again.
Is Dan going for a drink or is he going for a bath?
He's probably gone down to the pub.
Since he's left, it's actually heated up and gone into a pretty good battle now.
Yeah, well, this is what you miss when you've got 6 people in the lobby. See, now that I said that people should get half points, the race has actually started to heat up and shown why they should get the full points.
Lewis Hamilton's got to concentrate and get a good exit for the straight in sector 1.
Yeah, unless he gets a very good exit here and looks it into turn 1, it's going to be a very hard move.
He's going to get pretty close.
Bobbitt's already covers him off. This is the closest that Lewis Hamilton's been.
Has
got a little lag spike.
Yeah, 1 second lag spike.
Bobber's been very scrappy over them curbs.
Ooh. Getting really close to him as well.
It is, and I'd imagine he's going to have another look down into this Singapore sling that used to be.
He might not even need to make a pass, just this pressure on Bollock's mate, force him wide.
Speed.
He took that really nicely into the gap now for this back straight.
He's also got better curves still. Does he use the curves? No, he doesn't.
I feel he's saving it for the home straight, as Lewis Hamilton will be DRS assisted.
Yep.
I'm really surprised Sayaru isn't actually on this group yet. But now they're scrapping hard, Sayaru's starting to close the gap.
Yeah, and he's got 10 laps remaining as well, so he's got plenty of time.
And he's on fresher tyres.
Oh, and Lewis Hamilton spun! Oh, and he's collided into Sayaru!
No, he hasn't. He didn't hit him. He didn't hit him. Sayaru dodged him.
Dan, you missed out Fearless, losing his front wing.
Sorry guys, I got preoccupied with Sorry, right. So yeah, give us a little rundown.
Yeah,
so
you've
what's
missed out
happened
a lot.
to Fearless then? He's way back.
He lost his front wing.
He made a mistake. His tyres went. He came out, and all four of these were within about 3 seconds of each other. And Fearless was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like with Lewis Hamilton just in front, and he went wide on the last corner and hit the wall. And he's pretty lucky not to be out of this race.
So he's down in fifth.
Closed right on the back of Bobbitt's.
And Lewis Hamilton just span on the last corner, so that's why he dropped down.
So Bobbitt, who must have felt like he'd thrown away the race, is now in a position where he could win. However, he is on the...
He's still got huge pressure from Sayaru. He's got 5 laps fresher tyres.
Yeah. I think Lewis Hamilton will be able to catch him if Bobbitt and Sayaru start fighting and slow each other down. Because Lewis Hamilton was running about a second faster than Sayaru.
Really?
Before the incident, or before when he was behind Bobbitt, but had about a second gap.
Right, so this is one to keep an eye on then. Apologies, I didn't realise. How long have I been away? I don't even know.
A long time.
15, 10
not
laps.
15 laps.
It was at least 10.
No,
it was 12 laps, Dan.
No,
it was at least 10.
Let's not have an argument about
Dan, you went away lap. You went away lap. End the story.
Oh, well, I thought I went like 42, 43, so maybe it was better. 9 to 11 laps, something along them lines. I apologise, I mean, I've got a drink, like I said, watched a bit of the Rugby Sevens between New Zealand and South Africa, and then we've got new kittens this week, because they keep following me around everywhere. It's quite hard to be able to close the door. Ha ha ha!
And Sayaru's right on the back of Bobbitt's now.
He is indeed. Still can't quite make the move done, but he might just be holding out for DRS. Don't run down to turn 5.
When we was watching before, and it was the same scenario apart from Lewis Hamilton behind. Lewis Hamilton was behind for 4 or 5 laps. And
your teammate as well, Jambo. You want to get some good points for the team, so it's not been a great season. I expected second and third place in the championship last season.
On the races I finished, I did also.
Oh yeah, exactly. I just think it's like a car you haven't quite been happy with the cars this season.
First couple of races were down to the car. And I've had loads of silly incidents.
Well, it's now got a little bit of a gap, but the DRS for Ziaru closing the gap back up very quickly.
Oh.
Fearless destroyed his car, and that's got to be a safety car.
It's a safety car.
That may have just saved Bob's race.
You should not retire.
That may have
all you
saved.
fools who retired for no reason.
Yeah, the biggest fool being LGS.
It'd be interesting if any of them pit, because I don't think any of them will have new options. The primes aren't that fast. I think Boberts would pit because his options are pretty second hand right now.
Yeah,
Indigo
but
will be
then
on.
if he has
Indigo,
fresh tyres, he
he's
may
nearly a
not
lap
have
down.
enough laps to get past. We're going to have about 5 laps. Key, what is that? I mean,
that wasn't on pit.
no, I know it wasn't. Why are you a disappointment?
I don't know.
I was expecting big
Pinky is
things.
gonna go cry.
What?
I was expecting big things, especially when he had that
Boberts
lead.
pit.
All three of them pit.
All of them pit.
And I was extending my stint so I could be safer and go to the options at the end, which I managed to do, and then
Well, with the safety
like
car, we
about
never,
2 or
really,
3 laps.
we never really got to see whether your strategy would work with the safety car, but...
It would have, but I messed it up.
I really...
I should have. Yeah, if what I was supposed to do was stay out. Like I was a bit confused. The safety car come out, and I was just coming up to the pit entry, so I didn't know what to do. So I pitted just in case. More than made up for it on the next 2 stints. I'm so
Steve's
devastated.
going to be counting his lucky stars right now. He's about to get lapped, and now he's going to be on the back.
Well, that is if he can catch up in
Pulled
time.
out in 18
I
seconds.
think he will, because the safety car, look, they're with it now, so it's going to slow down by about 30 seconds away. They'll be out for about 2 laps. Indigo's going to be on the back of this group now, and he's as fast as these three.
So Boberts has fresh options, Ziaru has fresh options, and XRL someone have fresh options.
Well, they're not going to put wets on at this stage of the race, are they, Chris?
I think they're going to be qualifying used tyres, so they'll be on about 88%.
Pretty new, they'll be fine for these last few laps, like having reasonably fresh set tyres on anyway. And they're better than what they'll possibly having wet tyres on at this stage, Chris, so...
Intermediates would have
Wet
suited
would still
conditions
be
better.
better than the prime.
So, Key, tomorrow night, obviously GP2's racing. Will you be keeping an eye on my result with big interest? Jambo's already expressed his excitement about me potentially getting a result.
Just keep it out the wall and you'll be okay.
I'll be praying for you, Dan, I'll be praying.
Praying? I don't need praying. Just...
Jambo, will you be praying him for going into the wall or not going into the wall?
No, you can't say going into the wall.
I'll let him lead for about 40 laps, and if he gets near...
Well, luckily there's only 30,
towards
so I've
the
already
end.
won.
Did you get me overtake on Jambo?
What lap was it?
I don't know. I think it was Jambo. It was just after the safety car period.
Yeah, we did,
we
because Dan
did,
wrote it down.
actually. He ran the outside, wasn't it?
Did you like that?
Me, I can't even
Was that the
remember
one
it.
where you overtook a couple of cars after the bridge, and then going down to that next corner again for second sector? Yeah, got that.
And the safety car is flying.
Oh no.
I reckon it's all going to end badly.
Gonna be a bit
I reckon, I think they're all going to crash, and Steve's going to win.
Yeah, well.
On his debut.
So what happens? Do I get no points for that now?
No, you will.
No. I was really gutted about...
Next time I'll accidentally crash and retire, so I'll get points.
I was really gutted, like, when I lost my wing, because I was in front, and then just... At the end of the day, I've caught up a little bit on velocity, just like everyone else, and no one's overtaken them, no one's really gaining points, we've still got to get to that mark, so...
Well, the person that is gaining points is the second place in the championship, and that's Indigo.
Indigo, if he can make up another position between now and the end and get on the podium. Well, just he's nowhere near the fastest driver, and it just shows not getting disconnected, not just being able to finish the races each week.
Is it Korea next week, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to win that. I call it right now.
Okay, stay in position, no overtaking.
My circuit.
That won't that be on 2C's birthday?
Great.
Well, we do cakes and everything, but obviously you don't want that, so it's alright.
I remember joining, and then I did this division and GP2, and both races I had lag spikes at the end and finished second because of them.
You should have won.
I remember that.
You should have won.
I should have won GP2 and then Division
F1,
1
and then you should have won Japan, I think, the following week as well.
Through this game.
The safety car is coming in this lap.
Safety car's in this lap. Just a few.
Okay.
I think he will say no to Steve.
I think he will, because they're going to back off on the safety car as well.
The Bobbers can always bolt it whenever he wants.
How much?
Just about going to get there.
He's going to burn all his tyres before he gets there.
Oh, and Ciara's just tapped the back of Bobbers.
Game on. Game on then. Bit of an exciting finish, I suppose, to a was been a bit of an annoying, frustrating race, but let's hope these last few laps.
Bobbers has bolted, and he's put Ciara sleeping.
You can't actually accelerate.
You can't close the gap on the safety car either. It's so impossibly hard. But Ciara's a reasonable job, and he's under a bit of pressure from Lewis Hamilton behind. Now remember, before the safety car, Lewis Hamilton, as Jambo pointed out, was lapping a lot quicker than Ciara, so maybe Lewis Hamilton got a real good shot. Kerrs being deployed from the Toro Rosso driver, gets out to the left, inside turn 5, good there, brakes late, makes the inside, makes the move. Good move there from Lewis Hamilton. It was only really a car's win, he made it. Him v Roberts now. He definitely did not have the pace at the early part of the race to get past Roberts.
He's got it where it counts.
Maybe on the lighter fuel, Lewis Hamilton's quicker, I don't know. Third place is Ciara, they've made a little bit of a gap with P4, which is Indigo, and Stevo in P5, but look at this, Lewis Hamilton.
Deep.
He's getting very, very close.
I think he's had DRS and Kerr saved up.
Oh, Roberts goes wide.
He's gone wide.
And that looks like Lewis Hamilton's going to have to lead to go out the inside. Maybe not the natural racing line.
Trying to stick it around the outside, but he's going to have to give him
space. That's a fair move from Lewis Hamilton. And he's got the lead. And on a track where overtaking can be difficult.
I think he's got fuel saved up and he's trying to burn rich and get away.
Why Stuart joined the race?
I don't know.
Well, that'll be right now because you can't actually join the race unless you've been invited.
Get in there. From Southampton in here. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's been that long a race, but Lewis Hamilton, the race is now way over 2 hours, including qualifying, and Lewis Hamilton's in a good driving seat here. He's got 3 more laps with the DRS to defend against. Maybe even able to break that on Bobbitt's if he keeps it going at this rate. One person who has dropped off slightly though is Stevo. This has been a reasonably good day for McLaren, 25 points as he stands. Bobbitt's is starting to come back at Lewis Hamilton now.
I think they have different setups on different parts of the track. You can see the difference.
Yeah.
In the tight twisty stuff, Lewis Hamilton gets away.
All those corners, all in the twisty part, it's all about, it's all sort of confidence game, isn't it? If you can just get it all going.
Wheel spin.
Now, yeah, here we go. Look, Roberts now under pressure from McLaren CRE. Indigo's not been able
Hamilton
to.
would have broken the DRS for this lap as well.
It's going to be awfully close, isn't it?
I think he's just out of it.
No, I think Roberts is open there.
No, it was definitely close.
I mean, for this one is what it really matters.
Yeah, this one's the one that really matters, isn't it? Well, here we go. CRE. This is a good chance.
He doesn't get DRS on X Lewis Hamilton.
He does.
Oh, he does, but it's not open on my screen.
It looked open on mine. Doesn't make much difference though. Bob's run wide. Oh, no real chance to make a move there though. In fact, they'll wait until maybe the next lap now.
When Lewis Hamilton needs to win the most because of his champion position, maybe Boberts will maybe not.
I think Boberts needs it for confidence.
I think he'll be a bit more cautious, and he hasn't actually won a race yet in the F1 division. So. Boberts and Sayari are both looking for their first F1 division.
Lewis Hamilton a few more up. I think he's first of the season. A few last season.
No, that he's got 20-second penalties as well. So
yeah, but I believe Boberts is getting this taken off.
Oh, I'm on about X Lewis Hamilton. He's got 2 in-game penalties.
Lewis Hamilton got one because of lag, and then, like I was saying to you earlier, Righteous, Bernie wasn't there. But when you've got one, it's really easy to get a second from corner cutting. You just do like 1 or 2, then it just keeps you. You've already got a previous penalty. Boberts is really close to Hamilton.
Got poor traction out that corner.
This lap he's got it covered though. Lewis Hamilton's got enough of a gap. It'd be smart if he'd save some of it for the straight at the back, because last time round Boberts was really close.
Boberts is the one who looks like he's got a chance of making a move. Not great traction out of the hairpin though.
Boberts is too far back. Come down to the last lap. Boberts has got to push in this last second to ensure that he gets the DRS.
Oh, that's close to the wall. And in fact, I think Ciaru's the one who's possibly got a better chance here. But it changes with every corner, and Bobert's got a great drive through. He runs
wide.
That is big. That was surely mean.
And he won't be in DRS for this straight.
That's what I was about to say.
Surely gifted the lead and the win to Hamilton.
This Ciaru can make a move past Boberts now for second.
Well, Boberts closed the gap already.
Boberts in the first sector wasn't really on Hamilton anyway. In the second sector he tended to close down on the last sector.
Like it would be as you were only a few laps ago. No positions have been changed. Indigo Riccio's broken away from a Steve-O, but he's not being able to live up to the pace of these three. Bit weaving from the McLaren behind, but I think it's too late now. It's pretty much single file from here on out, and as long as there's no wing brakes,
mistakes, and it will be Hamilton's.
And it looks like Lewis Hamilton has in fact won with 2 corners remaining.
But he'll be pushed down to 5th because of the penalties he's got on the timesheet. And Sayaru has been, for now, given the win on the actual official race results until those penalties are looked into.
Well, Bobbitt doesn't have any penalties.
And Steve-O is 3rd currently on the results due to the penalties.
Well, Dan, because I don't know who to invite, you can invite the people for the podium. Who are we going to get in for the podium? Are we going to get Hamilton, Bobbitt and Yari?
I think you should troll Bobbitt though by saying he's going to get a penalty.
Well, we've got 2 of the people in already, so we'll start with the race win of tonight, Lewis Hamilton. Congratulations for your win, albeit you got 20 seconds in-game penalty, which we'll talk to you about after the race. But obviously, you had a bit of a struggling time in the first couple of stints, but to get it after the second safety car, you couldn't have asked for a better end of the race, could you?
No, I couldn't, no. I'm just as surprised as you are, to be honest, get up to first spot. After the first couple of stints, my car I don't feel like want to turn in, understeer, yeah, quite a lot to be honest. And then when I lift off oversteer.
Well, you definitely had a great comeback from the race, and you also spun it towards the end before the second safety car came out. Did you think at all that the race win had completely gone by then?
Yeah. Yep, that's what I thought. I did say to the guy behind me, in front of me, I said, I'm not giving up, I'm only 4 seconds behind. That's a big power slide to that corner. A good save as well, and yeah.
Well, congratulations on your win, and obviously getting pole position as well, and to get 25 points in the championship, you couldn't have asked for a better weekend here, could you?
No, totally a shock to me, but I'll take it with both hands.
Well, congratulations to you. And Bobbitt, you've got to be very gutted with that. You were having a very good race, a very dominating race really, and just a little mistake of going wide just cost you that win today.
Yep, a couple of mistakes cost it to me today. That safety car at the beginning, when Notice destroyed his vehicle, I thought that was absolutely perfect for me. Obviously that meant I had a 16-second lead. And then obviously he decided to bring the safety car out as I hit turn 3, so I thought, okay, it means I get a free pit stop, but I wasn't particularly happy that my lead had gone. Then obviously it was a case of building a gap again, which I managed to do. But then I locked up going into turn 8, lost 10 seconds, lost the lead to Fearless, made more mistakes, and it's mistakes that have what cost me today. Although I wasn't particularly happy with the driving of one driver who retired. I think it was the Mercedes of Sean. He was in the pit lane going to retire. I was coming to do my pit stop and he didn't move out the way, and I lost the front wing because of it. So I don't know what I can say about that. All I can say was yeah, but that's also cost me today. There's just little iggly bits. That's what it has done, but full credit to Sean, i.e. Lewis Hamilton, for winning today. You know, he took advantage of me making a mistake, and you got to give full credit to him. You know, the guy who finishes first deserves it.
Absolutely, and surely with this performance today, you got to feel that the race win will come eventually.
I've said this 3 times this season now. I should have had a race win. It's definitely not going to come now if this keeps on happening.
Well, good luck anyway.
Sorry, I'm just in a really, really arsey crap mood because I should have won that tonight.
Well, hopefully you will do better in Korea next week. And finally going on to Siaru, again, a very good race starting towards the back of the grid, not setting a time in qualifying, and getting a podium. That was a very good drive from you.
Yeah, it's alright. I'm not too pleased with it, really. The incident with Sean, it was 100% my fault, and I just messed up my race from then on, really.
Well, going up towards the second safety car, you have really just pitted. You had a good, clean set of tyres compared to the guys in front of you, and then you get that, and then you get more fresh set of tyres. But the guys in front of you also getting the fresh set of tyres just seem to keep ahead of you.
Yeah, I had a really good strategy, and the safety cars were kind of held me back a little bit. They brought the gap back behind me from Hamilton. I had it all under control, sort of. Then the safety car just bunched us up together, and I knew Hamilton was faster than me on the options in terms of pace, and it just couldn't keep him behind. He was just too fast at the last sprint.
Yeah, I did say that after the safety car go in, I'm just gonna go full throttle. I'm gonna gun it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that last safety car was absolutely ridiculous. Is all I'm gonna say.
I believe only 5 people finished.
Yeah, that's 2 seasons in a row now. I think we've had 5 people finishing in the F1 division in Singapore. It's a little bit disappointing, really.
5 times people have finished in the Singapore race for the last 2 seasons, and I also believe that Lewis Hamilton, you won here last season as well. When 5 people
I didn't. No,
he crashed out. It was Jambo who won it last season.
Ah, so your teammate won here last season.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't my teammate last season.
I didn't win last year.
I thought you did. No, you did win, but then you got the penalty, didn't you?
I was second, but I had penalties.
Yeah, that's what it was. Well, I've just realised that means I've been second 2 seasons in a row now in Singapore. This is really starting to frustrate me.
Last year I was dominating the whole race, and I do a little mistake. I put my car straight into the tyre barrier on the left-hander before that second long straight. And then
you were hit by Sean last year.
Well, I think that's pretty much the end of the podium presentation. I'll hand over to XRL Bernie.
Not really, Chris. You did a good job. Okay, I'm getting harsh.
I should get paid for this.
You should be paying me, really.
You should be paying us for driving.
Yeah.
No.
Is that checking all this?
No, I don't like that. I own all of you. Right, that's what the situation is.
Yeah, and Codemasters own you, Dan.
Yeah, they do actually. Don't know what to do about that. But anyway, getting away from that because Chris is a child. Tomorrow we have GP2 action. You'll be able to see me. I know all of you in this party are excited to see me win a race for once, so I'll try and oblige.
I'm excited to see you crash, but besides that,
you just got this tough man facade in front of everyone. But really, once you get the mic off, you'll all be wanting to win. So I will try my hardest for you, and you'll be able to see GP2 action. Conor Eisen, writer's tag in the box. For that, though, I believe I might try and ask Swishbone if he can do it, because obviously he wasn't around tonight. It's something which is completely out of his way. He couldn't have gone, so he might do tomorrow. But he hopefully will definitely be around for Tuesday for GP3 action, with possibly F4 being covered by F1 Speed. Now he's dropped out, and then F5 and T6 double header on Wednesday night. That's for sure. Me and F1 Speed doing the streamings for both of those divisions, and then back here next week for the Korean Grand Prix next Yongnam. 100% of that. That is a that's not a very good track either, but we'll try and make it as exciting as possible. And congratulations to Lewis Hamilton for what was a surprise victory today. in the Toro Rosso, which has been a car which I know you've been struggling with, or you've had struggles all season. It's not been quite like the Red Bull of last season, but you got a win under your belt, and congratulations, and we'll see you all next week, or tomorrow night